Hello, and welcome to another episode of Brettcast Gaming Talk. This is going to be another The Elder Scrolls Online discussion video. This episode I'm going to be talking about all of the Daggerfall Covenant quests. Please remember that I will be condensing all this and that there may be spoilers for these quests. The first area of the Daggerfall Covenant quests are in Stras Imkai and Betnik. You start on a ship because, it's the Elder Scrolls thing to do. You meet a captain, find someone who seems like their trust is questionable, steal a gem, get caught, and hand over the gem. That's the condensed version of the first quest. There's a point where you go to Beatnik, which is where a lot of orcs are. Eventually there's an Ayleid relic that comes into play. There's a quest that you have to go back in time to be an orc general and see how a guy wanted to use said relic, but the orc general didn't want them to use it. Then you go back to the present time, and once you defeat the boss guy, you're given the choice to either keep the relic for the Daggerfall Covenant or destroy it. I chose to destroy it because no one person should have that much power. It's honestly a fairly standard questline that has an interesting choice at the end. From there you go to Glenumbra. This area starts with investigating a Bloodthorn assassin plot, goes to having to restore the word tree with a boss that was not very easy at all, then goes to stuff with werewolves with a boss you fight twice, where the first fight is hard, the second fight is easy, and ultimately ends with defeating Angoth the Grave Singer who wants to conquer Glenumbra. I found this area to have the most amount of quests that really didn't line up that well at all. The word tree stuff was interesting and different, but then we go to werewolves, which I thought was kind of out of line, and I don't know, I didn't think the werewolf plot was very interesting. I understand that the boss ties in with Angoth, but still, they could have side quested it, or just cut this all the way around. And then you go to stopping some big bad guy from conquering the land, those things really do not connect at all. This is one area I thought the Covenant quest went on too long. I feel like the werewolf quest could have been left as a set of side quests or just cut completely, as I already said. From there we go to Stormhaven. This area has a lot of going into dreams, which is an interesting idea, I suppose. You start with finding a kidnapped lion guard, meeting a vampire, doing a bunch of dream warrior stuff, then you have to retrieve a dream shard, cleanse the shrine of Azura, and finally face a night terror beast thing that will end the threat to Stormhaven. Unlike previous areas, the Covenant quests here are kind of like the main quest because Daedric Prince Vermina is the one that created the Night Terror that's causing all the problems in Stormhaven, so you have to get the help of Daedric Prince Azora to defeat them. All the dream stuff was interesting as it's something that the Elder Scrolls franchise does not do that often. Then we go to Rivenspire, and this is where things get interesting. This is all about the vampire family we met one of, who is Count Verandus Ravenwatch, who is such a cool character. You start by reunifying Shornhelm, help the refugees in Crestshade, help the Count to do some Ayleid research, free Northpoint from the control of the Montclair family, and then finally you have to defeat the traitor to restore peace to Rivenspire, and finally choose someone to be the leader of the place. I love the Covenant questline here, and the overall look of Rivenspire is really neat. It may seem short, but I thought the quests here were the perfect length and were far more interesting than any of the areas so far. From there we go to the Alikir Desert. This area is all about the undead and ghosts. This area has several puzzles with groups of enemies that respawn way too fast to make simple puzzles more of a hassle. There's also a lot of defeat this many enemies to collect their essence and then defeat a bigger enemy guy, and you have to do this 4 times, and the enemies are each in different areas and are different enemies. It's a lot of trials to please the gods, and this guy's who you ask if the gods liked what you did, he's just like, I don't know man, only they know the real answer. Anyway, the basic thing is you have to return 3 wards to a tomb, and honestly the quests in this area were some of my least favorite. The last area is Bankori. This area is all about drawing out oppressed people to form an uprising. The quests in this area were my least favorite of all. You spend a lot of time doing quests in Imperial-held cities, and you have to use a disguise to get around, but there's so many Imperial sentries that will spot you, even if you try hard to avoid them. This area was the most boring because a lot of quests are just go here, talk to this person, go here, talk to that person, and so on. You finally get this resistance of maybe 15 people, and then you go inside the big temple, area, and you kill both the bosses on your own and liberate the city. I'm sure glad we got all those people to form a resistance so I could do all the work my damn self. Overall, the quests related to the Daggerfall Covenant, they start strong, but they lose steam once you get to the Alikir Desert and Bancoria, in my opinion. I understand it's hard to top what you do in Rivenspire, so I can understand why the last two areas are a little lackluster. The next Elder Scrolls Online discussion will cover the Aldmeri Dominion quest, which I'm still early in at this time, so it'll be a while. That's all I have to say, so if you added to the conversation, leave a comment below. As always, thanks for listening, and goodbye.